Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zishan Rizvi, student of Rehan AI Teacher Training Institute, Batch 21. And today I have an interesting conversation with ChatGPT regarding understanding the psychology of motivation. Hi, GPT.
Hey, I'm here and ready to go. I'm really excited for our conversation. Just let me know what specific aspects of motivation you'd like to focus on, and I'll be ready to help with your questions.
Well, initially, I need to know the core understanding, and I have a question. That what truly drives human motivation, internal desire or external rewards?
That's a really fundamental question. And the truth is, it's a mix of both. Internal desires like personal growth, purpose, or passion often drive long term motivation. At the same time, external rewards like recognition, money, or status can give us short term boosts or help us get started. The balance depends on the person and their goals. If you'd like, we can unpack each one a bit more.
And how does the brain respond when we feel motivated?
Great question. When we feel motivated, the brain releases a mix of chemicals. Dopamine is a big one. It's like a reward signal that makes us feel pleasure and pushes us to act. Plus, the prefrontal cortex, which handles planning and focus, becomes more active. So essentially, motivation lights up both our emotional drive and our executive function.
Is motivation something we are born with or can it be developed?
It's definitely something we can develop. While some people may have a natural inclination towards certain goals or drive, a lot of motivation is shaped by habits, environment, and mindset. With practice like setting small goals, celebrating progress, or finding purpose, motivation can grow over time. So it's a skill we can cultivate.
What is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation?
Ah, good distinction. Intrinsic motivation comes from within. You do something because it's personally meaningful or satisfying. Extrinsic motivation, on the other hand, is driven by external factors like rewards, praise, or avoiding punishment. Both can be powerful, but intrinsic motivation tends to be more sustainable in the long run.
And why do some people stay motivated longer than others?
That's a great point. A lot of it comes down to a few factors, like having a clear sense of purpose, strong intrinsic values, or a growth mindset. People who build habits, like regularly reflecting on progress or adjusting goals, tend to sustain motivation longer. Plus, a supportive environment and small achievable wins can keep that drive going.
How do emotions influences our level of motivation?
Emotions play a huge role. Positive emotions like excitement or pride can fuel motivation by making us feel capable and energized. On the flip side, negative emotions like fear or boredom can sap motivation or push us toward avoidance. So, managing emotions through self awareness or even reframing challenges can really shape how motivated we feel.
And what role does mindset play in staying motivated?
Mindset is really powerful. If you have a growth mindset where you see challenges as opportunities to learn, you're more likely to stay motivated even when things get tough. A fixed mindset, though, can lead you to feel stuck, like you can't improve. So, cultivating a positive, growth oriented mindset helps keep that long term drive alive.
Awesome. And
Yeah, go ahead. If you have another question or a specific area you want to dig into, I'm here and ready to help.
yeah,
What else would you like to explore next?
why does fear sometimes motivate us and sometimes paralyze us?
That's a really interesting nuance. Fear can motivate us when it pushes us to take action, like preparing for a big challenge or avoiding a threat. But when the fear feels overwhelming or when we perceive the stakes as too high, it can shut us down, causing avoidance or paralysis. So it really depends on how we interpret the fear and the level of control we feel we have.
And what role does the mindset play in staying motivated?
Mindset is really crucial. If you have a growth mindset where you see challenges as opportunities to learn, you're more likely to stick with your goals even when things get tough. A fixed mindset, though, makes people think their abilities are set in stone, which can sap motivation. So, shaping a positive mindset is a key driver for staying motivated long term.
And how does self belief impact our ability to take action?
Self belief is a real game changer. When you trust in your own abilities, you're more likely to take risks, persist through challenges, and stay engaged even when things aren't going perfectly. When self belief is low, though, it can be really easy to doubt yourself, hesitate, or even give up. So, building that belief in yourself is key to taking action.
Can overthinking reduce motivation? How?
Yeah, so overthinking can really drain motivation because it keeps you stuck in a loop. You end up analyzing every possible outcome, and instead of acting, you freeze. So it's really about balancing reflection with decisive steps. Taking action, even if it's a small one, breaks that cycle.
And why do we feel motivated one day and completely unmotivated the next?
Yeah, that's really common. And it usually comes down to a mix of factors like how well we're rested, our emotional state, or even external stressors. Some days we just have more mental energy or clarity, and other days those things are depleted. So it's about being patient with yourself and building sustainable routines to even out those ups and downs.
What are the most common psychological barriers to motivation?
Yeah, some of the big ones are fear of failure, self doubt, perfectionism, and even a lack of clear goals. If we don't feel confident in our abilities or we set goals that feel too vague or unrealistic, it's easy to get stuck. Once we recognize those barriers, though, we can start to break them down.
And how does procrastination connect to motivation?
Yeah, it's really connected. Procrastination often happens when we feel overwhelmed, fear failure, or just don't see immediate value in a task. In that sense, procrastination is kind of a signal. Sometimes it's a lack of purpose, sometimes it's an unmet emotional need. When we address those underlying causes, we can start to overcome the procrastination and respark motivation.
And why do we often lose motivation halfway through a goal?
Yeah, that's really common. Often at the start, we're excited, but once the novelty fades, the effort kicks in. We might hit a plateau or the initial rewards feel far off. If we don't regularly remind ourselves why the goal matters or adjust the plan to keep it fresh, that mid goal slump can derail us.
How can we stay motivated when results are slow?
That's a great question. One of the best things is to focus on the small wins, celebrate tiny progress to keep momentum. Also, revisit your why this goal matters to you, and break big goals down into smaller, more manageable steps. That way, even slow progress feels meaningful and you can stay engaged.
And what daily habits can help build consistent motivation?
Yeah, daily habits really set the tone. Things like starting your day with a small, achievable task, practicing gratitude, or setting a clear intention each morning can build consistency. Also, a short daily reflection, looking at what worked and what didn't, keeps you focused. Small, intentional actions add up.
And how can setting clear goals improve motivation levels?
Clear goals give you direction and purpose. When you know exactly what you're aiming for, it's easier to take consistent steps. Plus, clear goals let you track progress, which gives you those motivating wins along the way. And they help you stay focused on what matters, so distractions are easier to navigate.
And what role does discipline play compared to motivation?
Discipline is kind of the backbone, actually. Motivation can come and go, it's often a spark, but discipline is what keeps you moving even when that spark fades. When you build consistent routines, discipline carries you through the tougher moments, making sure you keep going even when motivation dips.
And how can visualization technique boost motivation?
Visualization is really powerful because it lets you mentally rehearse success. When you vividly picture yourself reaching your goals, it boosts confidence, keeps you connected to your purpose, and builds emotional energy. So it makes the whole journey feel more real and attainable, keeping your motivation alive.
Can small wins really build long term motivation?
They absolutely do. Small wins give you that sense of progress, and each time you achieve one, it reinforces your belief that you can keep going. Over time, those small steps accumulate and they build momentum, so you stay engaged and committed to the bigger picture.
And how does motivation evolve as we grow older?
Yeah, it really shifts over time. When we're younger, motivation can be more external, like seeking approval or immediate rewards. As we age, it often deepens, becoming tied to values, long term purpose, or personal growth. So as we mature, what drives us tends to become more intrinsic and aligned with our deeper sense of meaning.
And what is the connection between purpose and motivation?
Purpose is like a compass for motivation. When we have a clear sense of purpose, something that aligns with our values or gives meaning to our actions, it fuels us from the inside out. It makes even hard work feel worthwhile. So we're more resilient when challenges arise and we stay driven over the long haul.
And how can we motivate ourselves during difficult times?
That's a tough one, but it's really about grounding yourself. Remind yourself of your bigger why this matters in the long run. Break things down into really small steps so they feel more manageable. And don't be afraid to seek support, whether from friends, a routine, or even just small self care breaks. Those little anchors keep you going.
Can motivation be contagious? And how do people influence each other?
Oh, absolutely. Motivation can be contagious. When we see others taking action, staying positive, and making progress, it sparks something in us too. People influence each other through shared goals, encouragement, and even just a sense of community. So, surrounding yourself with motivated people can really lift you up and help you keep going.
Excellent. My last question, GPT, what legacy can a strong motivation leave in our personal and professional lives?
That's a really powerful question. A strong motivation can leave a legacy of perseverance, growth, and impact. Personally, it can inspire others by showing them what's possible. Professionally, it can drive big achievements, innovation, and a culture of commitment. In short, when we stay motivated, we shape a lasting, meaningful difference in the world around us.
Thank you very much, GPT. You have really delivered an excellent amount of information and knowledge to me. And this is good for the today. And I'll touch base with you again on some other day with some other topics. And please, I would like to say good night to you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Zeshan. I'm really glad I could help. Have a restful night, and I look forward to our next conversation. Take care.